Okay, so here we are at the second turn of War of the Ring. Fellowship has got itself in a position outside Moria, where if they enter Moria, there are 8 search points and 6 characters. That's a 50-50 chance that they can be attacked there by the Nazgul. That's something they would rather not see happen. Searches haven't happened. There was another search card, it didn't affect them. Event cards, neither side wanted to play them. Golem's still over on the Fellowship side. Now, what are the options that the Fellowship player really has? They could turn around and head back up north, where they're already heading. They could swing down south, or they could perhaps try to push through here with just a couple of people and reduce that chance of being captured slightly. None of the options are good. A 50-50 chance going through here is terrible, though. Facing 4 Nazgul without Gandalf, without some of the party. So what they're going to do is head down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Into the Forod Waith. And that now puts it onto the evil player. He's got an interesting situation. He has just gotten Saruman. And Saruman's reinforcements are placed on the board as so. Now, one of the things here is the faster you can spot a hobbit, the quicker you can get your evil power stuff going. I'll put the rest on a little later. At this point, Saruman has a problem, though. If he moves his forces out of here, it'll activate Rohan. He can't actually leave and enter Rohan with his armies. That's kind of a risk that he has to play with. So, lots of shadow points available. Of course, the Fellowship player doesn't know about. Here's 10 points that I've gathered together, and I can put them together here like this. That leaves me with 3 more. I'll move the Mouth of Sauron. I didn't move them before. 1, 2. Now you'll notice something here. The cost of these roads is a half each. But when we start looking at the cost for passes and gates, because we're going to be facing those here, and tunnels and stuff like that, that goes up. So a pass adds +1, a tunnel, gotta find them, maybe more. Tunnel is +2. That's that. These are mountain paths. Mountain paths cost 1. Okay, so let's move him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and now 7 to here. No real harm there. I can't move my other forces. I've still got a couple points, though, so I can drop one of these Nazgul down here. Now that still means the Fellowship can swing around. So here's the problem. If I put 2 here, I don't give any favor. So here I'd have 4 search points then, which means on a 1 or 2 it's a success. 6 search points gets me a big advantage. But if I clug these, I end up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's easy to avoid. So I'm going to play it out like this. Let them take a chance if they want to take the best route. They have the most chance of getting hit. The more they're willing to go out of their way, the less likely to be hit. Well, what does that do? Among other things, if you go this way, the Nazgul aren't going to attack. There's too few of them. But you've spotted the Hobbit and can mobilize Mordor's forces, which is the big key there. Alright, and I think that's it for the turn, and I'll be moving into turn 3. Now, I could be sending Saruman out to help. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it's a little risky at this point. Saruman, the Mouth of Sauron, they're free to move. Some of these other things, the Nazgul in particular, but also the forces of Saruman, but over here, are going to cost me to move. They're going to cost shadow points, so I would rather not do that if I can help it. Alright, we'll move on to turn 3 and see what happens. Okay, so here we are on the 3rd turn, and during the event phase, Dark Power player played, Boromir attempts to seize the ring. Well, Boromir's away on the horse, so it's not a problem. Normally that would engage a possibility of combat with the ring power. But now, the Fellowship player has a hard choice that we knew about. First of all, the Dunland troops, and I need to roll a die, but I don't really need to know it at this point. There was no search that was effective. The Dunland troops are going to be showing up somewhere in Dunland. I'm going to move through here. I've got 6 characters, 2 search points. Only a 1 will be a discovery. And we get through safely. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Slipping around Isengard or Isengard, depending on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we'll pull him through here. Now, unlike Fellowship of the Ring, there's no real risk to going up this way. It's just the delay, the time that's the issue. Time is much more an issue in this game than it is in that game. In that game, it's much more the monsters in the way. And I like the way the story develops in that one better. In this one, though, we've got to see, well, what is the Dark Power player going to do? He's got a lot of forces available right now. It's a 5, which is almost a full boat. So he can move 6 of his Nazgul. Now these guys are all useless, and that's what that adds up to. He's also going to start getting reinforcements over here in Isengard, which is not the natural pronunciation for me. We throw some orcs. Remember, Gandalf's still stuck here. He can't get out. And then we've got the Chief of the Dunlandings and some troops. Now, not much I can do with them right off the bat. For 6 points, I can move all my Nazgul. If I wanted to move something else, the force, it would cost me the same as a Nazgul. Search points? Well, quite a few, actually. But they're not orcs, and I'm not sure I can search with Dunlandings. I think they may only be usable as troops. I gotta check that and look it up. Whether humans can be used in the same way as orcs can for searching. I'll be back in a bit. Yeah, by my understanding, it's only the orcs, or only orcs that count for troops. So what we're going to do is we're going to definitely throw 2 in each of these spaces. Now here's the question. 1, 2, 3, 4. That'll keep them behind the river with that. Do we put here? Or do we place in both of these? It's got to be both if it's going to be one. Now this is going to allow the Fellowship player to run around them. Fellowship player doesn't want to enter a space with 3 Nazgul in it. Even though he can probably defeat them. Defeating them without Gandalf is tough. And he can prevent the spotting roll. Now on the other hand, spread out down here with 2 in there too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Doesn't really change the position. The Nazgul would have to spread out even more to have an effect on that. Here they're having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're preventing a movement into the forests here. don't want to spend the points to move into Isengard or move Isengard's forces down to Rohan, because that would activate Rohan, which I don't want to have happen. Right now, Rohan will not activate without those orcs coming down. Alright, of course, they might be necessary. Anyway, that's the end of the turn, and we move this forward, and I'll start a new one. So now we open things up again. The Dark Power player didn't play an event card. Fellowship was up to 4. He had to discard one. Whether or not this is one that the Dark Power player wants, I'm not sure. You know, if it's something like the pass is open, it's no good to anybody at this point. But there's a good chance that cards that the Fellowship player is not holding might be, or not wanting to hold, might be unpleasant for him. On the other hand, he might be storing a card on top of there, in which case taking it from him might be useful too. Hard to tell. Gollum has gone neutral, which has some effects in terms of guiding the Fellowship, I believe. There's cards, if you control Gollum, you can use them to get some additional movement advantages. It also makes it more likely for him to swing over to Sauron's side, in which case he can try to seize the ring. What am I rolling right now? I'm rolling the shadow points. No real reason for that. Let me move the Fellowship. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't want to get searched. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's as far as I can go. And that's all I have there. Now let's see what the shadow points actually are. Big pile of points. Got reinforcements coming in. And this is where the question comes. When is it time for the orcs in Isengard or whatever to come down and attack? And right now their strength is 33, 36, 66, 72 with Saruman. If I move the Dunlendings down too, that's significantly more. But I've got 60-something. Helm's Deep triples. So that would be 20. 21 actually. So I can get 3 to 1 on him with an attack. Now 3 to 1 is pretty interesting. It could cause significant damage to the defender, you can see, and make it very hard, in addition putting forces in the way. So what do we do? Do we want to crank those points out? And that's a tough decision here. So this would be moving a big force. That's going to be 3 big points. And I can move, that's a bridge, so that's going to just be 2 movement points. 3 big points. Let's see. Well, let's see about that 60. Whatever. There's 30. 60. I don't need a lot to hold back, because I've got more troops coming next turn. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to move Saruman and all these forces for 3 shadow points. And that brings him down to here at Helm's Deep. And now I've got 10 more points to move my Nazgul. I'm not sure I particularly want to use these weaker Nazgul when I have big ones back here. So why don't I take these? That's 6 points. And I can put the Lord of the Nazgul here, and Gothmog and this here, and I've still got 4 points to use on these Nazgul. And now I'm driving the Fellowship perhaps down the southern route by taking these advances, making it even harder on them. I've spent my points. I I can't move in here without attacking. I need 3 points for an attack. 3 points for an attack. That's actually 2 of my Nazgul. Well, that's going to make it plausible for the Fellowship to actually try to slip through. So I'm not sure that's going to be the case. Let's see what happens with this battle, though. We have, I'll just set this up here. We know what our strengths are. It's that 3-to-1 that I talked about. We got 60 something here. Wait, hold on. Ah, there's the extra one. So we got 69 points, and we're facing 21. So that's clearly a 3-to-1. I'm going to put the Rohirrim excess units here. They come in as reinforcements. Okay, so with 3-to-1, what are my modifiers? Well, here I have Saruman, and he's got B sorcery, which he's going to use. That'll help his morale. And he gets +3, so he's at, his own morale is 1 base in this scenario. So he's got +4, whereas he's facing good old Theodred, who's not terribly effective. And there are no bonuses, no help here. Theodred has a morale of 2, and this is noted on his counter over here. Which means it's going to be 3-to-1 at +1 to the die roll, +2 to the die roll. And with a roll of 6 + 2 is 8, 50% of Theodred's force is wiped out. He's got to lose 4 strength points here. And we'll get rid of those. I don't know where to put this. And we replace them with regular infantry. Oh, so he only has 3 left. And he's been killed. So Theodred is gone. His card goes away. And the Rohirrim are able to withdraw back in because this is a siege. Normally, they would have to either retreat or continue fighting. There's no casualties over to Saruman, so he has succeeded in his battle. And I'll fix those in a moment, and we move on to the next turn. And the Fellowship has a hard call. Do they try to slip through the north, or do they come around the south and take another shot at another problematic? You know, they could be blocked down here. It gets harder the more they go. On the other hand, if they get spotted, if the Hobbit gets spotted, then it means that Sauron can start mobilizing his forces more quickly. We are getting close to turn 7 anyway, so maybe it's worth taking that risk to run through Gothmog up here. We'll see.